Next.
Like your style. That's a good question.
Just a follow-up to that. If a guy is on a scout team, just how much does that guy actually know the offense as it is? Like, how hard would it have been to throw somebody like that in there?
Well, you're obviously not getting the reps that week for the game plan nuanced stuff, but the base package, base things that are maybe similar from a terminology standpoint, maybe different from a formation standpoint, week to week, you'd be able to do, and that's pretty standard.
Kristen in the back.
What kind of 1-2 punch do you see out of Griffin as a kind of counterpart to Royce Freeman?
He's a guy that he's practiced better and better. He's still learning just how to practice and do. We ask those guys to do a lot of things, whether it's route running or finishing runs, protection, all the things that go into being a complete back. He's working toward, and he's he kind of sees that carrot out in front of him, and he's starting to work a little bit better. Work more, study, hopefully a little bit more. And, he's obviously has a great mentor, both in Royce and in Coach Cam to learn from. Kanai's been helping him out as well. And so it's a good working situation right now.
Rob Mosley to your left.
How do you feel like you guys are tackling right now compared to, say, week 1, week 2?
Better, but still not perfectly. I mean, I've said this before, and there's never been a football game without a missed tackle. That's one of the things people, are always complaining about, which is we love that. We love perfection, and we're chasing it like heck. But the position, the leverage that we've played with it's getting better. But you still have to get the guy on the ground.
Aaron Fintress to your right.
The pass defense has been pretty sketchy, especially against the two teams you face that spread it out and throw it a ton. You're facing another team like that this weekend. What kind of challenge does that possess for you guys? And do you think they've grown enough in the last couple of weeks to be prepared for this type of challenge?
I do, and we'll find out. We're gonna. It's a different challenge. Similar, there's some route concepts that are similar from the other two groups that you talked about. But then there's some, a different trigger man, some different guys running the routes that are very talented guys with the ball in their hand. Kind of goes back to the tackling thing. Last year, we didn't tackle these guys very well. We had 4 guys within 1 yard of a receiver, and he gained 35 more yards, and that can't happen. That's one thing we've done better the last couple of weeks is getting more bodies to the ball. If that first guy does miss, and so it's all a part of doing your part, whether that's a pass rushing defensive end or the guy who's supposed to be deep half, do it great and rally to the ball.
AJ to your left.
Coach, DeForest Buckner has been great from game 1, every single game, but the defensive line has been improving. Talk about the guys that have been improving and how the line has been improving.
Yeah, they played really well last week. Just to neutralize the run game was a big deal, and try to make Colorado as one-dimensional as possible, and try to force that issue with a 4-man rush or a 3-man rush was paramount in that game. And Alex Balducci played extremely well. Did instrumental in a bunch of things. Tui's practicing or playing better. Henry Mondu, who am I forgetting? I'm going to forget somebody here. Austin Malawat has done some really good things. He's still learning how to play with pad level. He's a smaller guy, but he tries to see in the backfield too much. But all those guys at times did big time things that are kind of go unseen. DeForest ate up a couple blocks for Tui or Henry Mondu ate up 2 blocks for Rodney Hardrick to have the sack fumble, and they're playing well, not perfectly, but well and better, and we're leaning on those guys a ton.
Matt Frame in the middle.
Colorado seemed to you got a lot of pressure with your front 4, and Washington State, they get the ball out quick. Does that maybe put a bigger importance of getting your hands up opposed to getting a sack? Naturally, you'd like it, but
yeah, and that's you look at Cal. Cal got after him in some of their extended pass game, whether it's if you're in the shotgun, three plus drop or whatever type of timing. So yeah, that's one of the adjustments you could see them making, whether it's run game, screen game, quick game, and that's where the you're not going to necessarily get home, but you get a 6'7" guy putting his arms in the air. That's at least part of the, makes it a little bit harder.
Aaron Fentress to your right.
This is a little long-winded two-parter question. Bear with me. Okay. Coach Campbell said outside today that he doesn't care what style of running back he has. However, the past successes of this offense has really blossomed when you had guys like LaMichael, Kenyon, and DeAnthony, who are those quick guys who can take advantage of space mismatches and explode. Given the fact that Taj has demonstrated that, and the fact that the passing game has gone south without Vernon, and you guys only threw for 140 yards, I think, the other day, is it imperative to have a speed back like that who can compensate for not being able to use the receivers as much because you haven't been able to, and take advantage of the style of offense that has been so successful in the past with a speed guy?
That wasn't that long-winded. You just said it quickly.
Sorry.
Very quickly. I think I'm sitting here thinking of Jonathan Stewart and LeGarrette Blount, a couple of these other guys that fit in okay, and we need all of them. We need great backs, and sometimes if they're I think Royce is pretty good, but he's not right. Sure, yeah, absolutely, and having Braylon Addison or Byron Marshall or Charles Nell, all those kind of complementary guys that can be breakout type of players. Devin Allen, Dwayne. Dwayne had some opportunities last week. You have to have it all. You have to set it up with the run game. We had some chances in the play action game to have some huge plays, and we missed them. We also hit a couple. We also dropped a couple. So all those things we have to put together, and we have to coach them a little bit better. We have to execute a little bit better, and that's a team deal.
Andrew Greif in the middle.
New defensive coordinator, Alex.
This is new, right? With the announcing from the back corner.
I think so.
You like it?
Excellent.
Okay.
The new defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, they were so good last year, getting pressure, as has been alluded to. What is he? I know he's a former secondary coach, safeties guy at Missouri. What does he do? What kind of style of defense does he have any trademarks?
Well, they do a great job. They're very balanced and diverse from a similar shell. They're the best team we've played all year in terms of disguise. They'll play, every coverage they have from essentially the same quarter shell. They're about half and half in terms of a 4-man front, 3-man front, whether it's a odd look or a bear front or a traditional-ish 4-down look. They've rushed 2 and had pressure. They rushed 3, 4, 6, 7 and created issues. And so they do a great job of keeping you off balance. They try to get an extra coverage guy and work the stunt game more so than anybody else that we've played. And then they've got really good guys doing it. So it's that combination.
Jay Allen to your right.
Coach, I'm just curious, back to the missed tackling. How much midway point of the season, basically, how much live tackling do you do in practice at this point?
0.
So does that make it a challenge to focus on the missed tackles? I mean, how do you teach that?
Well, yeah, you teach, fits, leverage. You're doing it against bags. You're doing it against, all the technical things that you can teach on a stuffed bag or a moving stuffed bag. And the biggest thing is, getting fit with pad level and getting multiple guys there and playing full speed, playing with confidence. It's just, you can't, you'll lose too many guys, doing it any other way. You're constantly teaching the fundamentals of it. You're constantly teaching the fit, wraps and finishes. You're just not going live to the ground.
Preston Highfield to your left.
So Washington State loses to Portland State in week 1, and then they almost beat Cal last week. What is that? I mean, how does that happen, and what does that kind of tell you about Washington State right now?
I don't. Yeah, we're dealing with human beings. That's how it happens, and you can't slow down the Barney train in Portland either. The first game, who knows? It's the first game of the season. That's one of those things that there's all those games happen, and they happen. It's reality, and they were a completely different team against Rutgers. And then they were a completely different team against Cal, better and better and better. And, they had a little bit of I wouldn't say a struggle with Wyoming, but it was kind of a little back and forth. You know, they ran the ball. Wyoming ran the ball decently. Rutgers did some, decent things. Very weird finish to that game. But there's no, we're going to get we know that they're coming in and they're going to be very confident in their approach based on what they've done in the past, with what we've done in the past. And, again, that's why we always try to worry about us and talk about us as often as we possibly can.
Sam Finley, to your right.
Yes, talk a bit about Matt Lubick and what he's meant to the coaching staff so far.
Great entertainment. No, Lube's a great coach. He's a fantastic coach, grinder, very, very detailed and diligent in recruiting, in coaching, in his approach to teaching. Everything, everything he does is very thorough. He just does a great job. Players love him, play hard for him. Does a very good job. Obviously, a family business.
Warren Williamson, to your left.
Mark, Colorado ran the running back out of the backfield and were really successful. A lot of first downs. Was that a point of emphasis this week to kind of clean that up? And were those broken coverages by your linebackers who were supposed to key on those backs?
Well, that's the scheme that they did, which is excellent, is kind of what most people would say 4 out. There's four route runners to one side of the ball, and it's very difficult to defend. And that's why you're seeing more and more of that. In a traditional coverage, it's very difficult to match that route, that number of guys to one side, and then even more so if you happen to have a pressure or a zone pressure, it's virtually impossible to match. The numbers just don't match up. If you're in a 3 deep, 3 under zone blitz and there's 4 guys out there, it's hard to get to 4, but just in terms of the drop, and so. Several of those times you'll see our guys, we were prepared for it, knew it. Rodney Hardrick is out there signaling it, yelling at everybody to fit it. And, we just didn't quite get there. And so that's on us to hammer that home a little bit differently. Washington State does a form of that as a base part of their package. And so, we're definitely preparing for that as best as we possibly can.
Aaron Fentress.
Follow up to his third string quarterback question. What is the separation between Taylor and Jeff and Morgan at this point? A lot of fans, because recruiting hype, people expect him to be in the mix and he's not. So they always ask us. So I'm asking you sort of why is he not in that mix?
Well, I don't think I'm telling any tales out of school. I think he's said it publicly, the red shirt year for some guys, they take great advantage of. We probably didn't do that as much as we possibly could in his case, and that's just reality, and we learn from it. And that happens at multiple positions. A couple guys, 2 or 3 guys every year. Unfortunately, again, human nature. The human being part of it, whether it's frustration or you just don't. It's kind of like hammering. Ball security or something, or I just saw the Monday night the highlight of that this morning. We talk about ball security, don't reach the ball unless and unless that happens, they don't totally buy into it. And so creating that sense of urgency, it's happening better in his case. I don't know, I don't want to put a number on it. I mean, it's significant. If it wasn't significant, then got the best guys play. There's nothing, behind the scenes that's fishy of why. Yeah.
He's just not there.
For what?
In terms of the entire offense, he's just not ready yet.
He's just not operationally as good as the other guys. Right. It's simple as that at this point. And that doesn't mean that's forever by any stretch.
Andrew Greif.
This game last year was one where Matt Pearson got his first start, and I think Crosby may have gotten his first start, or at least a ton of action, and it obviously showed. Can you contrast where those two guys specifically, have come in the last year in terms of their comfort on the offensive line?
Yeah, they're both playing better. They've both been playing banged up, which everybody is right now. I remember last year in this game, those guys actually played a lot better, I think, than people were giving them credit for. And we had a couple other guys try to do somebody else's job, type of deal. And so I think they're guys that we have total confidence in, total trust in, and still are pushing. Those guys haven't, especially Tyrell, hasn't played his best football yet as at his stage in his career. And again, total confidence in those guys.
Jay Allen.
Hey, Coach, on a lighter note, you mentioned the Barney train in Portland. I'm sure you've heard about the commercial where he says he's better looking than Dr. Helfrich. What?
I haven't heard.
Oh, you haven't heard about it? Okay.
That's factually correct, but I haven't heard about this.
I'm just curious, what's your relationship with him? I mean, do you know him very well, or do you have a relationship with him?
I do have a relationship with him. Sounds weird.
Well, how well do you
so
know?
What's the thing about the train and the...
He talks about you, and he talks about Gary Anderson, and then at the end of the commercial, it's a spot for selling tickets, come out to the Vikings, and he says at the end, come to think of it, I am better looking than Dr. Helfrich.
I've known him for a long time. I can't remember exactly where we first met. I think we ran into each other in recruiting or something, and have maintained a friendship through his various travels. A funny guy, really good coach, very very smart football coach, very funny guy, as you guys may or may not know. And yeah, he has called me doctor for some reason.
But you didn't know he was
honorary.
You didn't know he's claiming he's better looking than you running around.
I did not know that. Now I'm mad.
As you're winding down here, are you short of Tyson Alger?
Right.
When Taylor Alley first came in this program, you walk on local kid. I think a lot of people on the outside didn't know if this was just like a good local kid story who's running the scout team or whatnot. But he's always seemed like a quiet kid who was maybe pretty confident on the inside. Just what was kind of your initial impression with him, and how has he kind of developed through the last couple of years?
I couldn't believe he came here. I really couldn't. I mean, I thought I couldn't believe he didn't get a scholarship somewhere else. And it was one of those deals where we're kind of sitting around and watching his film, and you start to put together whatever in your mind of, okay, that guy's going to end up at wherever. I don't want to name schools, but somewhere, and then for whatever reason doesn't end up getting a scholarship, and and that's what's so funny. I mean, think about somebody had mentioned something last week about how can a walk-on play whatever. Aaron Rodgers didn't get a scholarship out of high school. And that's everybody's sitting here now going, what a bunch of idiots. But think about that. He didn't get one scholarship offer, and so you look. And I'm not comparing Taylor Alley to Aaron Rodgers, but the possibility of that, it happens. That's why there's junior college football, or whatever happens with guys, or guys develop. Marcus Mariota had one scholarship offer when we offered him a scholarship, so that's one scholarship away from being a walk-on, in some ways. But Taylor was a guy that he ran around really well. He's tough. He's smart. He's got great intangibles, and we have very very high expectations of him.
Is there a longer his first fall here? Is there a longer gaining your trust sort of period for a guy that didn't have any scholarships? Is there kind of a let's figure out what was wrong with him that everyone passed him up sort of thing?
Well, that's kind of what it is at first. Either there's something wrong with him, or that when we first thought that he was coming here as a walk-on, it was like, no, there's no way he's coming here. He's gonna go somewhere else. And then when he says that he was coming here, then it was like, wait a second, something then it's the conspiracy theory. But absolutely not. When a guy shows up, he doesn't wear a different jersey, he doesn't wear different shoes, he doesn't wear anything. He's on our team. And if we have a bunch of guys playing that are non-scholarship guys now, and they're on a football team, and if they can help us, they can help us.
Okay, one more. Preston, back.
So just kind of a clarification question. So is he on scholarship right now, and at what point would you put him on scholarship if he's not, given that he's playing?
He's currently a non-scholarship guy, and those conversations are ongoing, all the time. So there are different guys at different positions, whether it's there or other walk-ons that are playing minor roles, major roles, maybe in your eyes no role, are ongoing, I guess is the best way to describe that.
Thank
Any
you.
more Bruce Barnum questions? Okay.